Alright everybody, this is Balrogfan here from the Heroes Power Hour. I've got Zexerous and we have a very special guest. We have the co-captain and shot caller for Team Expert, and that is Badbenny.
Actually, from when this is recorded, I'm the real captain now.
You're full captain.
Oh, promotions.
I'm the full captain.
That's awesome.
Nice.
But thanks for having me. And yeah, hopefully I can answer your questions and be entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing to do the interview. We're highly appreciative of it. It's great that you're taking the time out of your day to talk with us. Though it's like what, midnight over there in Sweden?
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock right now.
Yeah, so we're really appreciative of it.
Yeah, definitely. What was it like growing up in Sweden? Did you ever think you'd be competing with people from around the world growing up, or?
I mean, my experience with video games in general has always been more than most of the people I know, like my circle of friends and so on. Like I always were the kid that played games and were super good at it, and somehow that translated into me being a professional.
Right.
I mean, it obviously took a lot of hard work, but I don't know. I usually get very attached to the games I play and things in general. So when I really like something, I just invest so much time in it until I become really good.
What were some of the games, following up on that, what were some of the games you played when you were growing up?
I mean, childhood games were like, I don't know, me and my friends had, we played Pokemon and stuff on a Game Boy, and then classic Nintendo games such like Zelda, Mario games. I really liked like Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Dexter on PlayStation. Those were like two of my favorite games on that console.
Good classics right there. Good selection. I like it. I like it.
And then when I started playing computer games, I played Warcraft 3, like not only custom games but like the real RTS game a lot. So that's when I started try-harding a bit more. And I think I was really good at it, but I mean, for not playing competitively or anything, but I think I was like up there. But this game was just kind of dead at that time.
Yeah. I remember Warcraft 2 Battle.net version coming out. Like that was its own special release, and I was super excited about that because personally, the group of friends I played with, like we played StarCraft and Brood War, but we were like at heart Warcraft fans. So when that came out, it's like great. We don't have to tie up our phone line trying to play each other, because the only option for old Warcraft was, you had to dial into somebody, and that was so painful. But moving on real quick, I have a question for you as well. Now, you've played on previous teams in the past. You've played on E-Punks. You've played on Fnatic, if I remember correctly. Evil Murkies.
No.
No?
That's a bit wrong. No, I played. Actually, didn't play on any like real professional team before this one.
Really?
I played with ADR in the Sandwich Monkeys, and before there was another team that we were just outside of the professional zone.
Okay. Okay,
I
then.
mean, I was known in the scene, I think, but I wasn't really on those top teams.
Liquipedia lied to me then, because I pulled up your tournament history on Liquipedia, and it said you're on E-Punks and Fnatic, couple and Evil Murkies.
No, that wasn't me. That's weird.
That's so weird. Okay, well, as you mentioned you played on semi-pro teams in the past. I assume you had a chance to participate in the old format of how Blizzard used to do things, the regional qualifiers.
Yeah.
Now, the burning question for me was, how much more do you like the HGC format over the previous regional qualifier format? Like what is your opinion? Do you feel better about the HGC with having games every week compared to whatever you did in between regional qualifiers in the old format?
I mean, obviously for consistency and like the safety as a player, having the the new age format is way better, but obviously you miss out on going to LANs, which was also like a really fun thing of being a professional gamer. Unless like even if you're getting to every LAN, it's like, I don't know, half of the LANs compared to the previous format.
Right.
I think something like that.
Right. So you do miss that. So, and I kind of had a smaller follow up to that. Now, the regional format, you had these big gaps of time between qualifiers. So you had time to go to LANs. You had time to, I would assume, schedule huge blocks of scrims in that time. Is it easier to schedule scrims in the current HGC format, or did you have an easier time previously?
I don't think I've ever had much trouble in scheduling scrims, to be honest. Like, the teams you play like every week is more consistent now, because okay, we're like rank 4 in HGC right now, so usually you play some of the above teams and some of the below, usually, like, so you have like, there are some teams we haven't played much at all and some teams we played a lot. And before it was very random what kind of team we practice against, like during an average week. So that's the biggest difference about that I can think of.
Okay.
So recently Heroes 2.0 hit, and from a casual standpoint, we've loved it. I'm curious what the pro scene kind of how they feel about it. I mean, from what I see on Twitter, it's sort of positive, but was it an adjustment or?
I mean, obviously it's a bonus for everyone, but the thing about a lot of pro players is that they, like, they're professionals. They care about the in-game more than the outside. But as I said, it's a bonus, and I don't think anyone can say they don't like it. You get, it's much more fun and like.
Well, some heroes got pushed a little, like Uther, for example. He got.
Oh, you mean change? I thought you meant like the cosmetic loot box and all that.
Yeah.
The patch, I think it's fine in general. Like, we've been playing on the latest patch now since playoffs, and it feels pretty good. I would say, like, there's a lot of viable heroes, and in general, you can try out a lot of things, but there's not something that's like super OP, I feel. Yeah. There's always some strong picks, but...
let's a minor follow-up to that. Diva, you're a tank player, if I remember correctly, correct?
Yeah, main tank.
Yeah, and I play tank too, and I hold a lot of sadness for Chen right now. I don't think Chen's in a good spot. But how do you feel about Diva? Do you think she's going to make an impact when she becomes available to the pro scene?
I think she definitely has a spot. We obviously, since she came out like not that long ago, we haven't seen her full potential yet, but we've been practicing with her a bit and against her, and in some situations she seems super strong, and in others not so much. So.
Right, yeah, like, the problem I have with her is she has a potential 4 health bars.
Yeah.
That just seems silly to me.
In an uncoordinated environment, it's probably much more annoying to deal with, but then the counterbalance to that is that she doesn't really do that much, unless her team is following as well, so...
Yeah.
If maybe your team is not doing much to her, but she alone is not doing much to your team usually. Yeah. But a lot of, like, a big competitive aspect is that the self-destruct. It's basically like her real ultimate. A lot of people feel like, just the other ones are a bit lackluster, and that one has huge impact. And it can be combined with other spells such as Void Prison or.
Oh God, Leyline.
Gust people into Leyline.
God, I'm having nightmares kind of already. That just seems so terrifying.
Another important aspect of it is that, let's say, Infernal Shrines, like you get like 30 minions, enemy team has like 30 as well around, and then you just pop the self-destruct and you have to run away or take a bad fight. So it can give you super favorable scenarios if you use it correctly.
Yeah, we were messing around with it. I was messing around with her on Haunted Mines, and she almost ensured the big golem. Like every time if self-destruct was up, like you just simply couldn't fight in there.
Run away.
You know, you had a Tassadar force wall into the mines right there, and they're not getting away. It's just, and that's one thing that makes me sad is I don't see force wall Tassadar anymore, and it's just, I'm so in love with that ability.
We actually played around with it quite a bit, but right now Tassadar is compared to the last, I don't know how long he was first ban, but now he's actually not that prioritized. We still see him sometimes, but
yeah, he's not bad. It's just Uther just does so much more.
Yeah, other double supports have.
Tarand, how do you feel? How does your support players feel about the Tarand rework? Because it seems incredibly silly, like having Pierce built into the bird now.
The thing about Tarand is, like you said, support players. With the recent changes, Tarand is not a support anymore. Like,
that's
the support player will never play Tarand anymore.
So she's more of an assassin now.
Yeah, like you could say she does what Mediv / Zarya does a bit with the shielding. Like she's the backup support kind of, but she's not super good at it. So she has kind of a weird spot right now. I haven't seen her too much, but.
Alright,
she probably needs a few buffs or changes before she's like viable competitively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or in very certain situations.
Heroes fall in and out of the meta all the time. Do you have like a hero you like playing that's currently not in the meta really, but you really enjoy playing them anyways when you get the chance?
I really like playing Shen actually, as you said before.
He picked my favorite hero!
And I liked Rexar a lot, but he's just like I've been trying to get him to work, and we played him we play Rexar main tank a few times, not since HGC, but we did it before.
Right.
And I mean, it has its niches, but it's like so hard, and the other hero just does it better usually.
Charlie, I've got to ask him the question: what changes would you make to Chen?
Honestly, no clue. Maybe a bit talent diversity, and I think his kit is okay, but you can never make him like OP with his current kit. Like if you buff him too much, he's gonna be like, he's gonna break the game. And it's super hard to find the perfect balance. I feel it feels like Shen is more impacted by the meta than himself being good or bad. Like I think the hero is fine, but lacking a bit of talent diversity. But it's just that. Against so many other things, it's hard to get value from.
I wish I'd see Accumulating Flame taken more, because I love that ability. Like it lets you just go incredibly aggro on people, and then once you finish that quest, you're just allowed to be extra aggressive onto people with that resistance he gets every time. But like I've been saying here recently, when you pick Chen, you win the solo lane, and then you lose the game.
Usually, yes. I mean, that's where the barrel comes in, but there's so much things that are good against the barrel or can counter-engage when Shen goes in, so like you have to outdraft enemies a lot to win with it, I think, like, or for it to be for it not to be a downside to your draft.
Right. We'll move on because we're getting heavily distracted and we've got some more questions lined up. Are there any changes to the HGC tournament format that you'd like to see? Example, maybe a league point system instead of the win-loss system. So you'd play every team 2 to 3 times, a 2-0 victory in the case of 2 games. In the case of a 2-0 victory, you get 3 points. A tie is a 1 point for both teams. Would you like to see any changes, or are you just completely fine with how the HGC is run right now?
I really haven't thought about it. I think I'm fine with the current state. Oops. But I was thinking, like, we're the team that has the most 3-0s during the whole phase 1. Like, and we all, like, even though we lost 2 more games than, or 3 more games than like rank 3 and 2, we still had almost the same like map score as them. So if that were a thing, we would probably be like rank 2 or probably not rank 1.
That's true.
We would be
actually.
way higher up if that was a thing. But I can't say if it would be better or worse. I don't have a real opinion on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. When it comes to like shot, so you're the full captain now. Do you like come up with the draft strategies and do the shot calling? Like what's
Draft
it like shot calling
strategies
for expert?
Draft strategies are mostly on ADRD. Like, so we will go into the draft. He usually has the main idea, and that has always been his thing. And then the rest of us just try to help out. And sometimes he asks, you think this hero is good here, blah blah blah, and then we come with our input as well. But he's like the main leader when it comes to that. And then in game, I do like most of the like when you're a shot caller, you don't
close your door.
like. In my opinion, you shouldn't say everything. At least some shot callers, I'm not gonna mention names, but they do it that. It's basically that they say everything in the game and no one else can speak almost. That's the impression I get from hearing it at least. And I don't think that's the correct approach. I think shot caller should be the one that like you call the what's it called macro rotations and so on in the beginning of the game, and then all the players should like provide information and think of things themselves, and then the shot caller, like if there's ideas clashing, the shot caller make this decision of let's go for this or go for that, blah blah blah. And then late game it's even more important.
Right, and that seems to be a common thing. Like it's either the shot callers are either very micromanagey about everything and want to control every aspect, or there's your style, which is just it's let players use the experience they have with the game as well, and you kind of be the organizer for everything.
Yeah, I mean a scenario would be that we in the beginning of the game I say we start on the lanes like this, or if I'm not sure I ask like what do you think we should do, and then we talk about it a bit like before the game starts, and we get into the game, we split up on lanes however it's called, and then I see opportunity that we send this hero top, so I say Nick, you can go top after this wave, or like we can rotate for easy camp, and then obviously they should look for things themselves. Like if someone is at a solo lane, they can say this guy is low, we can gank him, and then another guy says I can go here, and if it doesn't interfere with my plans, then I just let it happen, and if I think something else is better, I say but we should go for this instead, or something. I don't know. That kind of stuff.
It's it's a lot of work to be a pro, especially the shot caller. So it sounds like you put in a lot of time with Team Expert. How long have you guys been together now as a solid group?
So we when this is recorded, we actually like officially made the last roster swap for like Blade is out now and Affair Angel is in, and some people might have noticed that we played 3 HGC games with Affair already, and a tournament before this last part started with him. And we've been practicing with him during the HGC weeks as well. But before this switch, I think I don't actually know. I can't say on top of my head, but I think almost a year since we started the team, like in the beginning. But then it was like first Blade, and then me, and then like a month later Ediardi, and a month after that Curson joined, and some months after that Nick joined. So it's like, I don't know exactly what you mean with if you want the full group or...
Oh no, just in general, how long you've been with Expert. It seems like...
Oh, you mean as the org or the team?
The org. You seem kind of the face of the Heroes team a bit. Yeah, I see.
The org we've been with since 2017. So we went to the summit after qualifying for HGC, and then at the same time we managed to get a sponsor or org as Expertise, and then they provided us with some stuff and shirts obviously too. Yeah, when we were at the summit, we took media pictures and so on for HGC season, and yeah, we wore their shirts and so on. So yeah, 6 months now, I think, with Expert, and I think at least 4 of us played together for like 4 months before that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's touch on the first half of Phase 1. You guys got out to a really strong start. I think you guys went 4-0 at the start. And then you guys hit a little bit of a skid, which I know can be frustrating. Everyone gets frustrated over accumulating losses. How did you guys, and then you guys, kind of found your rhythm again a bit. What were some of the things you guys did to help you bring yourselves out of that slump and get back on a winning pace?
So, I don't think we took it. I mean, we obviously took it out. We wanted to qualify for the first Western Clash, and we started out 3-0. It was before we lost 3 in a row. Like, we were 3-0 and then 3-3. And each of those, like, the series against Dignitas, I think, was the most important one, because we played Fnatic and Dignitas like 1 week, and after that we played Liquid the next week. And those are like the top 3 teams of Europe.
Right.
Yeah.
Relatively known, I would say. So we knew that if we beat Dignitas, because I think they had lost against Fnatic and Liquid already, so if we beat them, we would be in a good spot to go to the Western Clash. But as soon as we didn't manage to do that, that was obviously depressing, and we tried our best in the other series, but we kind of lost the motivation a bit until I don't know, in my case at least, like, the drive wasn't there as much because we knew we wouldn't qualify regardless of what we did.
Right.
But
yeah.
I mean, what can we do? We just keep on playing, try to improve, and do better next season.
Okay.
I don't know, we didn't really have any, rituals or anything to get us back in the mood or motivation to play, but I think we all dealt with it differently, each our own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you're a great team and you're a lot of fun to watch, and we really appreciate having you on this podcast. We watch every week and we try to talk as much HGC as we can, so it's very exciting for us to have had you on the show.
Yeah, it's
No problem.
absolutely wonderful. We love having you here. We love having to actually talk with a pro who is knee deep in the scene, and good luck to you guys in Phase 2.
Thank you.
Looking for great things. I know Charlie's a big ADRD fan. Go back go back to some of our podcasts, and he's just on the ADRD train. He just was a giant fan.
We had picks too, and I was picking you guys every week because we try to pick who's gonna win, and then yeah. But
it worked some weeks.
You guys got me a lot of points. I'm not complaining.
That's good.
You could have always done the
welcome.
pick against Naventic strat.
Oh yeah.
That's what I did. Naventic playing, pick against them.
I mean, they're back in HGC. Hopefully with some roster changes.
There's actually one more question that I just thought of just now. Looking with the Crucible having come and passed at the time of this recording, you've gotten a look at the NA amateur scene and the EU amateur scene, and I personally feel the EU amateur scene is vastly better than what the NA scene is. If you look at the Crucible scores for NA, Naventic I think swept whoever they were playing, or is it 4-2? Was it 4-2? Okay, and then Even in Death just got rolled by No Tomorrow. Yeah. But if you look at the EU, and I look at the rosters for Even in Death and Imported Support, and I used to cast some NA amateur scene, so I recognize some of the names, but they're not on the level of what EU's quote amateur scene is. You see Grand Paqueta, you see Shad, you see old Liquid pros, you see old like Navi pros and stuff like that on these rosters, and it's just a night and day difference. You know, do you share my feelings on the EU amateur scene being just vastly better than the NA amateur scene?
I mean, I would say that both Zealots and, like, especially Zealots, but also the newer Gangnam team, like, they're more of a, what's it called, like, question mark so far.
Okay.
Like, I don't really know how they will do, but I think Zealot is, like, even when they didn't qualify, they were still like one of the better teams in Europe. I wouldn't put them like below HGC teams.
Right.
Even during like the open division, say. I think obviously Europe had two weaker teams that stood out, except that I guess BGenius won against Playing Ducks and Tricked the last few weeks, but it's hard to say if that was because they played super well or the other teams played bad.
Yeah.
But regardless, like the Europe had a clear bottom two in HGC, and like both the amateur teams, like the best amateur teams that qualified now, played on an entire different level. And I think what you asked about Europe amateur scene is compared to any amateur scene is like the same as most Europe professional scene compared to any professional scene. Like I think the Europe one is much more evolved, and I'm not sure if it's I don't know the exact word for it, but like it feels like we take it a bit more seriously from what I've heard, like with practice times and so on. I'm not talking for all teams obviously, but
no.
from what I've heard it feels like Europe teams are more dedicated to improve kind of.
Now,
I've always said that Europe plays more as a team and they play more as a unit, and NA plays as individuals. They're more prone to it anyways.
Oh yeah.
Now,
I heard that as well. That
sorry, like another question like popped into my head to kind of follow up on that. Now, will EU teams like talk to each other? Like, hey, we kind of figured this out, or is that just part of the scrim process? Like, you'll notice they run a certain strat, and then like you try to counter that strat, and you guys kind of figure out how it works, which I think elevates the scene as a whole by this, share. I'll call it sharing tech, like sharing like what meta ideas come out.
I don't think, at least we don't like write with other teams and say, hey, we play this. Like, I mean, you want to keep some good things secret for important matches and so on. Like, you want to stay ahead, but obviously since most teams are dedicated on improving, they try to figure out, what did expert do here that was so strong, and they try to either replicate that and see how it works, or try to counter it the best way.
Right.
So there's no like chat for it where you just write all the strats or so on, but I think every team is dedicated on finding out like the best solution to counter or how to draft and so on, because I mean that's their job kind of.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap the interview up here. Thank you so much for your time. It's an amazing interview. We appreciate being able to pick your brain like we have.
No problem.
And I wish you all the luck next in the next phase. And I'll be cheering for you.
Thank you, and thanks for having me again. I don't know about I don't know if you asked other people that said no or something. I have no idea, but my perspective on getting interviewed is like whenever I have time, I feel I owe it to the audience and fans and so on to actually like give them the content they want and so on. I'm not sure. I haven't watched your podcast, so I don't know how many people watch it and so on, but like I try to take most opportunities to like show myself, not for my sake but for others, since I am a public figure, and it's more entertaining for those who watch if they have like more info on the players and so on.
I'm not even blowing smoke. You were the first person I contacted because you were always a fun interview on HGC, so I was really excited that you got back to me.
Those interviews weren't really planned, but I'm glad they were entertaining.
Oh yeah,
Definitely
some people it
entertaining.
really shows it's not planned. You handle them with pretty good grace, so it's always fun. So that's our interview with Badbenny, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Alrighty.